Let's get started with our first news. Luke Rockhold just dropped some major insight that's got the middleweight division buzzing. Rockhold, who's trained closely with Khamzat, says Sean Strickland is by far his toughest test at 185. On a recent Long Jackson podcast appearance, Luke broke down his time training with both fighters and didn't hold back on what he's seen behind the scenes. According to Rockhold, Khamzat's wrestling is absolutely elite, next-level stuff that most middleweights can't handle. But he added that Khamzat's striking isn't as untouchable as people make it out to be. When it comes to Sean Strickland, Luke explained that Sean is sharp, tricky, and extremely difficult to deal with in the cage. He called Strickland annoyingly hard to hold down, and that his ability to get up over and over again makes him a real problem for someone like Khamzat. Right now, Khamzat is aiming for a March or April 2026 return to defend his middleweight title against Nurdin Imov, while Strickland is gearing up to face Anthony Fluffy Hernandez in what's shaping up to be a brutal title eliminator. The stakes couldn't be higher, and the division is on the verge of exploding. Meanwhile, RDR, who recently lost to Brendan Allen in a fight many fans criticized as him quitting on the stool, revealed that he ran some blood tests after the bout, and the results weren't good. He didn't go into specifics, but said the findings were serious enough that the UFC might not allow him to fight for a while. Some analysts believe his condition could be linked to multiple weight cuts within a single year. Despite that, RDR still expressed interest in facing Paulo Costa at some point in 2026. Back to Rockhold's comments, he admitted that even though he's not the biggest fan of Sean Strickland, he believes Sean could very well win against Khamzat. "I hate to say it," Luke said, "but Strickland should win that fight. He's probably the toughest test for him." Rockhold described how Sean isn't exceptional on the ground, but has incredible awareness and balance, allowing him to escape positions most fighters would be stuck in. He also pointed out that both Sean and Khamzat have trained together before at Extreme Couture, which could add another layer of mind games to the matchup. "That plays a role in both their heads," Luke said. "I see Sean talking very loud like he knows he can do something." In the end, Rockhold summed it up perfectly. Sean Strickland might not be the most explosive fighter, but he's confident, relentless, and nearly impossible to break. And when someone like Luke Rockhold says Sean is Khamzat's toughest test yet, you know it's going to be a war. Move on to another news. Tom Aspinall is facing major backlash after Dana White's big reveal about his eye injury. The controversy around the Aspinall vs. Gain rematch just got even louder. Dana recently updated fans on Tom's condition, and his comments only fueled the fire. According to Dana, Tom has no detached retina, no structural damage, and overall, the eye is fine. But that didn't stop fans from reigniting the debate. Many claimed Aspinall could have continued fighting and accused him of quitting too soon. However, not everyone agrees with that take. UFC legend and former heavyweight contender Alistair Overeem has come to Tom's defense, calling out critics for being completely out of touch. Speaking exclusively to Bloody Elbow, Overeem explained that from his own experience, those eye pokes were absolutely brutal. He said watching the footage made it obvious just how deep the poke went, and that the pain would have been excruciating. Overeem stressed that even if there was no permanent damage, the kind of impact Tom took can cause serious bruising and temporary vision loss, making it almost impossible to continue fighting safely. In his words, "The eye poke was very deep. I don't know if you've ever had one, but it can be very painful, and especially if it goes that deep, there's going to be damage. Even if it's not permanent, even if it's just a bruise, it's still very painful." Overeem added that he had no issue with how Tom's first undisputed title defense ended, calling it an unfortunate but understandable outcome. Still, fans have been quick to point out that other fighters have dealt with similar or even worse situations and kept fighting. Daniel Cormier fought through a bad eye poke against Stipe Miocic in a title bout. Fighters like Jiri Prochazka have also said they would have kept going no matter what. That comparison sparked more division online, with some calling Tom soft, and others reminding everyone that every injury and situation is different. Then, during a press conference, Dana White shared his own thoughts on what happened and the immediate aftermath. "Devastated," Dana said. "I was devastated. When you're in a main event and the fight's heating up, it looks like it's going to be a really good one, and then it ends with an eye poke. It's brutal," he continued. "He's at home, he's recovering, and as soon as he's able to fight again, we'll book the rematch." Dana confirmed once again that Tom's eye had no serious damage, no detached retina, and that he should heal up soon. Once cleared, the UFC plans to schedule the rematch and give fans the fight they were robbed of. Move on to another news. Michael Chandler has shared his detailed breakdown of how he sees the upcoming fight between Islam Makhachev and JDM playing out. The two are set to headline UFC 322 next Saturday. and Chandler believes fans are in for a war. Speaking with Ariel Helwani, Chandler explained that size won't be an issue for Islam, even though he's moving up to face a dangerous striker like JDM. Still, he gave the Australian a slight edge because of his superior boxing, clean fundamentals, and serious punching power. Chandler described JDM as a tough, straightforward fighter. He said, "He's not much of a puzzle, man. He's pretty basic, but he's brilliant and violent with the basics." Chandler noted that JDM's range and reach could cause problems for Islam, especially in the early exchanges. But he also made it clear that Islam is no ordinary fighter. Islam's a different breed, man. I wouldn't sit there and say, oh, he's a 155er, so he's not used to going with 170-pounders. I wouldn't be surprised if Islam has spent his entire career sparring with 55ers, 70ers, 185ers, and even 205ers, because the dude's kind of a nut. According to Chandler, Islam's strength and size won't be the deciding factor. Instead, it will come down to how JDM handles the relentless wrestling pressure. It's really going to be the dichotomy between JDM's great striking abilities and whether his takedown defense is good enough to stop the onslaught Islam's going to bring. Chandler said. He compared JDM's power to Dustin Poirier's, mentioning how he's personally felt Poirier's shots but believes JDM hits even harder. Even the stand-up battle against Poirier, he hits hard, man. I've felt that firsthand. But there's no way he hits as hard as JDM. Chandler predicted that Islam will likely get tagged early and be forced to switch to his grappling. I think Islam's going to get tagged up a couple of times, and we'll see if he goes to that wrestling pretty quick, he said. Still, Chandler made sure to give both fighters their credit. I think JDM is a monster, man. I give him the slight nod in that one, but I wouldn't be surprised if Islam ends up holding the belt. He added that if Islam does win, it'll set up an entirely new scenario in the division, possibly even opening the door for a massive super fight with Ilya in the future. Chandler wrapped it up perfectly, saying, "Crazy sport, man. Anything can happen in this game." Move on to another news. Jon Jones is once again stirring things up, this time calling out Tom Aspinall and labeling him a quitter. During a recent appearance on the No Scripts podcast, Jones didn't hold back when discussing the ongoing Aspinall situation. He claimed that every time Tom gets hurt in a fight, he shuts down immediately, accusing him of always looking for an easy way out when things don't go his way. Jones said, "When Tom gets hurt, he's immediately incapacitated. You poke his eye and he's instantly done. There's no attempt to recover, no effort to push through." According to Jon, what frustrated him most was the lack of fight back he saw in Tom during moments of adversity. "I've been on national TV looking like the silliest cat, trying to fight through it." He didn't even try, Jones said firmly. He brought up multiple examples to back up his claim. Jones pointed to Tom's fight with Curtis Blades, saying that when Aspinall injured his knee, there was no attempt to get back up or show grit. When he hurt his knee, there was no limping, no trying to get up. It was immediately like, "Burn my village, I can't go on," Jon said mockingly. "He doesn't have that dog in him." Jones went even further, referencing Tom's past submission loss. When he got tapped out with an ankle lock, there was no trying to fight the hands, no attempt to escape. He immediately quit. He emphasized the word immediately, repeating it several times to make his point clear that this was a recurring pattern in Tom's fights. As the discussion continued, Jon also addressed the playful jabs he's been taking at Aspinall online, including the eye patch memes that went viral. When asked about it, he laughed and said, "I'm just having fun with it. He's had his moments coming at me for a long time, so now I'm just keeping things lighthearted." Jones explained that it's all part of keeping the fans entertained, saying, "It's to keep the fans engaged and to keep things fun." Despite the harsh words, Jones seemed amused rather than angry, maintaining his trademark mix of confidence and showmanship. Still, his comments have reignited the debate around Tom Aspinall's toughness, especially after the controversial ending to his last fight. For Jones, it seems this back and forth is just another day of business as usual in the fight game, stirring the pot, firing shots, and keeping his name right in the center of the MMA world. Move on to another news. Charles Oliveira has made a bold prediction ahead of the upcoming Islam Makhachev versus JDM fight, and according to him, the outcome could be decided the moment Islam gets the fight into his world. Speaking with full violence, Oliveira explained that while JDM has shown impressive grappling in recent outings, especially against Belal Muhammad at UFC 315, the power and control of Makhachev are on another level entirely. Oliveira said that JDM's performance against Bilal was the perfect test for a matchup like this, as it forced him to deal with a strong grappler for extended periods. He praised JDM for handling that challenge, but made it clear that Islam presents a completely different kind of problem. "I think Islam is going to do very well in this weight," Oliveira said. "Now he's going to be much stronger. It's a game where you just have to grab him and put him down." Charles emphasized that if Islam manages to secure a takedown, it could be lights out for JDM. "I think JDM is going to do the same fight he did against Bilal Muhammad, hitting and moving, getting out of range. But if you let Islam grab him and put him down, it's over," Oliveira stated firmly. His confidence comes from experience, having shared the octagon with Makhachev himself. Still, Oliveira didn't completely dismiss JDM's chances. He acknowledged that the Australian is far from a one-dimensional striker. JDM has proven himself to be dangerous everywhere, even showcasing his grappling credentials when he submitted world-class jiu-jitsu ace Craig Jones in a video that made waves online before UFC 315. During that same fight week, he also stuffed several of Bilal's takedowns, no small feat, especially in a division heavier than Islam's usual 155-pound class. Despite JDM's improvements, Oliveira made it clear that Islam's control and positional dominance are what separate him from nearly everyone else in MMA. "Once Islam gets on top, it's just different," he said.
"He's heavy, he's patient, and he knows exactly what to do to keep you there." As for Oliveira himself,
He's got his hands full preparing for Ilya at UFC 317. Victory there could potentially set up a rematch between Oliveira and Makhachev, either at lightweight or possibly even at welterweight, depending on how things play out. If both men continue to win, fans could be looking at a massive double title clash in the near future. For now, though Oliveira's message is clear, if Islam Makhachev takes JDM down, the fight is as good as done. Move on to another news. Islam Makhachev's longtime coach, Javier Mendez, has sent a serious warning to JDM ahead of their highly anticipated super fight at UFC 322. The matchup headlines Madison Square Garden on November 15th, and Makhachev enters the bout as a sizable favorite. Most of the MMA world expects Islam to dominate because of his world-class wrestling. But Mendez believes many people are overlooking another key part of his game, his striking. While a large section of fans are backing Islam to control the fight on the ground, others are giving JDM a real shot because of his elite striking and devastating power. However, Javier Mendez doesn't want JDM or his camp to underestimate the danger that comes with standing across from Islam. Speaking on Submission Radio, Mendez made it clear that Makhachev's striking has evolved tremendously, and if JDM walks in expecting a one-dimensional wrestler, he's in for a rude awakening, Mendez said. "I hope JDM goes in believing that, because when he gets in there with him, he's going to find out a whole different story." He explained that Islam isn't just a dominant grappler, but a complete mixed martial artist who can adapt to any situation. By no means is Islam an easy fight for anybody. Any MMA fighter who's a striker is not going to have an easy time with him, Mendez continued. "Don't go by what you see. When you're in there with that man, it's a whole different ball game." He went on to emphasize that Makhachev's composure, timing, and improved striking defense are what make him so dangerous. Over the years, Islam has been training alongside elite kickboxers and strikers at the American Kickboxing Academy, fine-tuning his stand-up game to complement his wrestling dominance. Mendez believes that mix will surprise a lot of people, especially those expecting a classic wrestler versus striker showdown. Despite JDM's explosive power and clean boxing, Mendez insists that Islam's ability to blend striking with takedown threats will disrupt the Australian's rhythm. "You can't get comfortable striking with Islam," he said. "The moment you start to feel safe, that's when he closes the distance. That's when he takes control. As the fight draws closer, anticipation continues to build around whether JDM can keep the fight standing, or if Islam's well-rounded skill set will prove too much. One thing's for sure, Javier Mendez is confident that his fighter's striking will shock the world once again." Move on to another news. Merab Dvalishvili has shared his thoughts on the highly anticipated title fight between Islam Makhachev and JDM at UFC 322, and he believes that while it won't be easy, Makhachev is fully capable of dethroning the welterweight champion. The fight is set to headline Madison Square Garden in New York on November 15th with ESPN Plus pay-per-view coverage. Makhachev enters the bout with an impressive 27-1 MMA record and a 16-1 UFC mark, while JDM holds an 18-2 MMA record and remains undefeated in the UFC at 8-0. According to Dvalishvili, JDM's size and scrambling ability could pose challenges for Islam, but he stressed that nothing is impossible. It's going to be hard for him, but it's possible for Islam Makhachev to win the second belt, Merab said in an interview with Helen Yee. He praised JDM as a great fighter, a great striker, but pointed out that Islam's unique skill set gives him a real chance to make history. Dvalishvili highlighted Makhachev's strengths, emphasizing his wrestling southpaw stance and ability to control fights without taking much damage. He's tricky. He has good wrestling, he's a southpaw. He doesn't get hit, but he takes people down and he mauls people, Merab explained. He also noted that JDM's previous fights, particularly his matchup against Bilal Muhammad, would serve as valuable lessons for Makhachev in preparing his game plan. We all saw the JDM-Bilal Muhammad fight, and I'm sure Islam will take lots of lessons from this fight and maybe make adjustments, Dvalishvili added. While JDM predominantly kept the fight standing in his title-winning performance against Bilal at UFC 315, stuffing 6 of 9 takedown attempts, Dvalishvili believes Makhachev's wrestling and fight IQ could tilt the balance in Islam's favor. He acknowledged that the challenge will be significant, but nothing is out of reach for the former lightweight champion. It's possible. It's going to be hard, but Islam can win the second belt, he said, reinforcing the idea that Makhachev's combination of experience, technique, and adaptability makes him a legitimate threat in the welterweight division. As fight week approaches, anticipation continues to build for this super fight. Dvalishvili's comments reflect a growing sentiment in the MMA community that while JDM has the tools to control the fight on the feet, Makhachev's relentless wrestling and strategic adjustments could be decisive. With both fighters at the top of their games, UFC 322 promises to be a thrilling clash with potential history-making implications for Islam Makhachev.